picture this. You've just strapped on a beautiful pair of premium suede boots.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Right. You step out your front door, and you're feeling absolutely put together. And then, well, the sky darkens.
The absolute worst feeling.
A single heavy drop of rain falls and just smacks the toe box of your shoe. I mean, instantly, your heart rate spikes.
Oh, yeah. You just freeze completely.
You freeze. You're calculating the fastest route back to shelter, totally convinced you've just ruined a $300 investment. I think we've all been there.
It is a very, very specific type of wardrobe panic, you know? We are just so used to the underlying invincibility of our clothes.
Yeah, totally.
Like, a thick pair of denim jeans can be tossed in the dirt, no problem. A smooth leather jacket can take a massive beating from the elements. But suede just strips away all that confidence.
Which is a tragedy, because I mean, suede is a timeless fashion statement. It instantly elevates a casual outfit. It adds this incredible texture to formal wear. But man, it strikes absolute terror into the hearts of footwear enthusiasts.
It really does. People are terrified of it.
I know for a fact that you, listening right now, probably have a stunning pair of suede shoes sitting in the back of your closet that you were just, too terrified to actually wear out of the house.
And leaving them in the closet entirely defeats the purpose of owning them, right? Like, they are meant to be worn. They're meant to be seen.
Exactly. So today, we conquer that fear. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to take that anxiety and basically transform it into a confident, easy-to-manage routine.
That's the goal.
We're using this incredibly comprehensive guide by Apparelizer on exactly how to clean and maintain a suede shoe collection. So we're going to break down the mechanics, the sort of paradoxes of stain removal, and give you the ultimate blueprint for suede survival.
What really stands out to me about the Apparelizer guide is that it just removes the guesswork.
Right. No more random internet hacks.
Exactly. Guessing with suede, trying whatever weird hack you saw online, or, relying on your basic cleaning instincts, that is a guaranteed way to destroy the material. The guide focuses heavily on the why.
The science behind it, basically.
Yeah, why traditional cleaning methods are your worst enemy, and why the material behaves the way it actually does.
Okay, let's unpack this biology first before we even touch a brush.
Yeah.
Because to understand why suede is so vulnerable, we have to look at what it actually is, right?
Yeah.
It behaves entirely differently from that tough, smooth leather jacket we mentioned earlier, even though technically they come from the exact same animal.
It really all comes down to the anatomical layers of the hide. Smooth leather is made from the outermost layer, which is the epidermis.
The part that faces the weather.
Exactly. This is the part of the animal that spent its whole life exposed to rain, wind, brush, everything. It is naturally engineered to be a tough, weather-resistant barrier.
Makes sense.
Suede, however, is created by actually splitting the hide and using the underside, which is called the corium layer.
So this inner layer was never, ever meant to see the outside world. By using the underside, we get that luxurious, soft, velvety finish that everyone is so obsessed with, which the guide refers to as the nap.
A nap, yeah, that's the industry term.
I like to imagine this nap as like a microscopic shag carpet.
Oh, that is a great way to visualize it.
Right. When you look at it up close, every single individual fiber of that leather is standing straight up. It looks incredible, but structurally, it is a massive liability.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, understanding that specific shag carpet structure is the absolute foundation of all suede care. Because the surface isn't flat and sealed like normal leather, there's literally nowhere for dirt to just slide off.
It's all just open and exposed.
Exactly. Those upright fibers basically act like millions of tiny little magnets. Every dust particle, every drop of oil, every bit of moisture gets trapped deep down between them.
Which perfectly explains that sort of nightmare list the guide outlines, right? Water stains, flattened texture, permanent discoloration, those awful salt lines. It is essentially a wearable sponge.
And that sponge-like reality is exactly why applying a traditional thick wax or like a heavy leather cleaning lotion will just be catastrophic for suede.
Because it just gets stuck in the carpet.
Yes. If you apply a heavy paste to a microscopic shag carpet, you simply glue all those delicate fibers together. You take this beautiful texture and turn it into a flat, greasy, matted mess.
Yeah, no one wants greasy suede. So we need a highly specialized approach. Because of this unique, vulnerable nap, you can't just grab a wet rag from the kitchen sink and go to town.
Definitely not.
The Apparelizer guide dictates that you need a very specific toolkit
Yeah.
and, more importantly, an unbreakable golden rule before you even attempt to clean anything.
The toolkit doesn't have to be super complicated, but it does have to be precise. The guide highlights a few non-negotiable items.
Let's run through them.
You need a dedicated suede brush, a suede eraser, a white microfiber cloth, a suede cleaner, some waterproof protector spray, and cedar shoe trees.
I want to focus on these tools for a second rather than just reading off a shopping list. A suede brush isn't just a standard shoe brush, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen some that have weird rubbery bristles or even like brass wire in them.
Yeah, they look a bit intimidating, but they are specifically engineered for the nap. A standard horsehair brush, which is amazing for polishing smooth leather, is usually way too soft to lift the trapped dirt out of suede.
It just glides right over the top.
Exactly. So a proper suede brush often uses crepe rubber, which has the slightly sticky gripping quality, or it uses very fine brass wire that gently combs those tangled fibers apart without actually tearing them out of the hide.
And what about the suede eraser? Is that literally just a standard pink pencil eraser from like an office supply store?
Oh, definitely do not use a pencil
I
eraser.
didn't know.
Yeah, those can transfer pink dye straight into your shoe, which is a whole new disaster. A suede eraser is a crumbly, kind of abrasive rubber block.
Okay, so how does it work?
Well, the friction causes the block to break apart slightly when you rub it, and those little rubber crumbs physically grab onto stubborn dirt and scuffs, basically lifting them away from the leather.
Which brings us to step 1 of the guide. This is the absolute golden rule. You must always begin with dry shoes.
Always dry, never wet.
We use that suede brush to gently remove loose dirt by brushing in one direction, using really light pressure to avoid flattening the nap.
Right.
And if there's a scuff, we grab the eraser, rub it gently over the mark, and then break the nap again to restore the texture.
The overarching philosophy here is lifting and coaxing the dirt out rather than, scrubbing it.
I have to challenge this dry cleaning logic, though. I mean, human instinct is hardwired for the exact opposite approach.
Oh, completely.
All right, if I get dirt on my hands, I use soap, water, and aggressive friction. If I drop food on a cotton shirt, I use a harsh detergent and I scrub it in. This whole idea of just lightly brushing a dry shoe with a dry brush feels deeply counterintuitive. It just feels insufficient for real-world dirt.
I get that. It completely defies our ingrained cleaning habits. But the source explicitly identifies those instinctual reactions using water, harsh detergents, or scrubbing aggressively as the most common ways people permanently ruin their footwear.
The old instinct betrays us.
It really does. Think back to your shag carpet analogy. If you introduce water and heavy friction to those delicate fibers, you are basically either tearing them out entirely or felting them.
Oh, like when wool shrinks in the washing machine?
Yeah.
You're matting it down permanently.
Precisely. Once those fibers are matted and fused together by water and friction, that velvety texture is just gone, and you really cannot get it back. Finesse is the only way forward.
Okay, so dry brushing makes perfect sense for dry problems. Dust, loose dirt, the everyday scuffs you get from bumping your toe against a staircase. But let's build a scenario here.
All right, I'm ready.
Let's say you finally take my advice, you conquer your fear, and you wear your suede shoes out for an evening.
A brave first step.
The night escalates, and you encounter the 3 major disaster scenarios the guide outlines: water, oil, and mud.
This is exactly where people truly panic and just abandon all logic.
Here's where it gets really interesting, starting with scenario 1. You step out of the car and a rain shower hits you. You get to the restaurant, you look down, and you have prominent water stains forming right on the toe box. The Apparelizer guide says that, ironically, the absolute best way to treat a water stain is with clean water.
Treating water with more water, that sounds crazy.
It sounds like fighting a fire with a flamethrower. The guide says to lightly dampen the entire shoe with a microfiber cloth, blot it gently, and let it dry naturally with shoe trees inserted.
What's fascinating here is the science of capillary action. A water stain on suede isn't usually just the water itself, it's a water ring.
Okay, explain that. What's the difference?
Well, when a localized drop of water hits the shoe, it travels outward through those porous fibers. And as it travels, it pushes all this invisible everyday dust and natural oils to the outer edge of the puddle.
Oh, wow.
So when the water evaporates, it leaves behind a hard, highly visible ring of deposited dirt and altered nap.
So by lightly dampening the entire shoe, we aren't really cleaning the spot. We are evening out the playing field. We are taking that hard line and blending it across the entire surface area.
Exactly. You are redistributing those trace minerals and oils so that when the shoe dries naturally, it dries uniformly, which means it leaves no visible rings behind.
That is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so the water stain is drying. Scenario 2. You're sitting at the table enjoying your dinner, and a French fry slips from your hand, leaving a distinct dark oil stain right on the side of your shoe.
A classic disaster.
My immediate instinct, knowing that oil and water repel each other, is that trying to use a wet towel here would be catastrophic.
You're right. A wet towel would just smear the grease across a larger surface area, driving it deeper into the hide. For oil, the guide advises going straight to your kitchen pantry.
The pantry.
Yep. You sprinkle a generous amount of cornstarch or talcum powder directly over the stain, and then you walk away.
You just leave it.
You leave it alone overnight and simply brush the powder away the next day.
No rubbing at all. We don't try to, work the powder into the fibers.
Zero friction, none. If you press down on wet oil, you are just coating the base of that microscopic carpet in grease. The magic here is absorption.
How so?
Powders like cornstarch are incredibly porous on a microscopic level. They act as a highly effective sponge. So when you pile it on top of a fresh stain, capillary action draws the liquid oil up and out of the leather fibers and right into the powder.
Before it even has a chance to set.
Exactly. It pulls it out before the oil permanently bonds with the corium layer.
It literally drinks the oil out of the shoe. That is such a satisfying mental image. All right, scenario 3. The dinner is over, you're walking back home, and you misjudge the curb. You step directly into a wet puddle of street mud.
Oh, no.
It is thick, it is wet, and it is caked onto the side of your boot. This feels like the final boss of shoe care.
Mud is truly terrifying for Suede owners. And the guide's advice here is perhaps the hardest directive to actually follow, psychologically speaking.
Let's hear it.
You must do absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
You have to allow the wet mud to dry completely before you even attempt to remove it.
Man, my brain is screaming at me just thinking about that. Waiting for wet, dirty mud to dry feels like actively ignoring a massive crisis. I would be so tempted to grab a napkin and wipe it off immediately before the stain sets.
Let's think about a clay face mask for a moment.
Okay.
If you apply a wet clay mask and then immediately try to wipe it off your face with a dry towel, what happens?
You didn't remove it. You just smear wet clay deep into your pores, creating a massive, thin layer of mess across your entire face.
Yeah. You're just making mud soup and pressing it into the hide.
That paints a very clear picture.
Precisely. If you wipe wet mud on a porous, velvety surface, you are forcing moisture and microscopic dirt particles deep into the base of the fibers where your brush will never, ever reach them.
So you have to just let it be.
Yes. By practicing patience and waiting for it to dry completely overnight, the moisture evaporates. The mud turns back into solid, dusty clumps.
And once it's a solid structure again, it's basically just sitting on top of the nap, right?
Exactly. Then you can take your dry crepe brush and carefully flake those solid pieces away, keeping all that dirt safely on the surface.
It requires an entire paradigm shift in how we approach maintenance. We really have to let the material's physical properties dictate our methods, rather than, forcing our usual aggressive cleaning habits onto a delicate surface.
It's all about working with the material, not against it.
So we've survived the night out. We've dealt with the rain, the oil, and the mud. But getting rid of the stains is really only half the battle outlined in the Apparelizer guide.
Yeah.
The other half is ensuring the shoes look spectacular for their next outing and preserving their structural integrity when they aren't actually on your feet.
This brings us to the crucial phases of restoration and protection. After you've spent an evening walking, flexing the shoe, maybe blotting a water stain, that delicate nap is going to get compressed. It will just naturally look dull and flat.
So the guide states we must do a post-wear restoration, just taking that suede brush and gently working over the entire shoe again.
It's a very simple step, but it physically lifts those fibers back into their upright position, which restores that rich, light-catching, velvety appearance.
And if you skip this,
Without this, the shoe slowly becomes permanently flattened over time. It just loses its character.
and to stop the next water or mud stain before it even happens, we create a force field. The guide strongly recommends applying a high-quality waterproof suede protector spray.
This is an absolute necessity for longevity. These modern sprays are